God is a God of second chances, and no one knows that better than Pat Smith. This former Miss Virginia and runner-up to Miss USA has experienced some extraordinarily high points in her life and some devastating low ones. Take a look.
Meet Pat Smith. She's an author, speaker, and television host. She's also the wife of former Dallas Cowboy Emmitt Smith. She might seem like she has it all, but Pat's journey hasn't been easy. She suffered through the death of her mother, followed by a difficult divorce from Hollywood superstar Martin Lawrence. Pat dealt with guilt, insecurity, and depression. In her new book, Second Chances, she shares the story of how God completely changed her life and how He can do the same for others.
Please welcome to the 700 Club, Pat Smith. It's great to have you here.
It is so good to be here. I mean, I grew up around the 700 Club right here in Virginia Beach, so I'm like ecstatic.
It's coming home, right?
I'm home. I'm home. It's wonderful.
It's great to have you with us today. You know, your book is so amazing. You've lived an extraordinary life. As I said, you've had some wonderful high points and some low points, and you're very candid in your book about the struggles in your life. What made you decide to write this?
You know what? I kept saying, I wish that someone, I lost my mother very, very young from breast cancer. I always said, I wish someone had told me when I was around 20 years old that life was going to be hard, that you're going to suffer. You're going to suffer some losses and disappointments and shame. But God could take all of that and turn it around and make it something so special and so unique for His glory. And so for me, it's a gift. Yeah. It's a gift to other women, other people that, we honor a God of second chances. And really, second chances to me, it's just His grace, right? It's His grace, it's His love, that no matter what you do, no matter who you are, He can use you, and you don't have to stay stuck or in shame.
Your book isn't just about your story. You share in it the lives of really many women that you've met along the way who've also had places of pain and hurt and wounding, but have not just survived, but thrived because they've let God take that and make something good out of it.
Which was so beautiful. And I noticed this, like 2 years ago, I did an event with Robin Roberts in Dallas, and it was called Celebrating Second Chances with Overcomers. And that's when I realized that every woman that we honored, not only Robin, but every other woman, they had been through great adversity. But they had taken that, and now they were building ministries, starting nonprofits. They had a passion in the area of their hurt and pain. And I said, you know what, there's a unique line or
there's
thread.
A string running through this.
Yeah, like I just kind of see something happening here, right? And then that's when it gave me hope for my own life. For so many years, like I talk about it in the book, through a lot of my own struggles, I made some bad decisions, some bad choices. And I felt so much shame because of it, so much embarrassment. Came from a wonderful family right here in Virginia, wonderful parents, and grew up in the church. And when I lost my mother, there was a void.
Yes.
There was just this huge void, and I just couldn't figure out how to fill it. And so I found myself, whether it was seeking ambition or fame or men, trying to fill that void or with things. And I realized, really, the only thing that can fill that void is Jesus Christ, right?
But it takes a while to figure that out, doesn't it?
Yes.
I mentioned that you had been Miss Virginia. You went on and competed for Miss USA, or first runner-up. So you had that, as you're saying, drive for significance, really, looking for what life is about. But one of the problems with that is it puts you out in front of the public. Then you marry a very well-known, Hollywood star, and when it didn't work out, it's all so public. How did you walk through that time?
Let me tell you, it was crushing.
Yeah.
It was very crushing. It was very humiliating because I was just coming off of the Miss Virginia pageant and then, of course, Miss USA. Now, mind you, what was so interesting is that because I lost my mother, to me at Miss USA, I know you were Miss America, right?
Right.
I wanted to be Miss USA. I was first runner-up. For me, that was second loser.
Yeah.
That, to me, I felt like I lost.
Close doesn't count.
No, it didn't count for me because I lost my mother. Then I felt like I lost the pageant. Then, of course, I go on to get married. That marriage doesn't work. That's a failure to me. We had a beautiful young daughter, and in the middle of the night, I found myself having to leave our home. And so another loss. And so what tends to happen is that we put a mask on.
Yes.
We try to pretend that it's okay.
In the middle of losses like that, the enemy comes in like a flood and start
yes.
speaking these things to your mind and to your heart.
Yes.
You're not worthy. You'll never find what you're looking for. You can't be
Yes.
loved. How did you deal with that? How did you get from that to, you know what, I get a second chance here?
Exactly. You know, it was about a 20-year struggle for me.
Wow.
And that's why I wrote this book. Because for me, a lot of it is forgiveness.
Yes.
You got to forgive yourself. Many times, you know, I had a hard time. Why did I make that choice? Why did I do
Yes.
that? You right? So forgiving yourself, forgiving others. I had to forgive my ex-husband, you know?
Even in your marriage with Emmitt, you two had things you had to forgive each other for.
Absolutely.
That's kind of an ongoing truth that we need to step onto and stay with, isn't it?
Exactly. And you know what? I'm so transparent about it, and we both are, because I think it, you know, transparency and being real is so important and healing. But, you know, to me, Emmitt was like my knight in shining armor after so much hurt and pain. And I actually put him in a place that wasn't even fair for him.
Yeah.
You know, to me, it was like I put him in a place of, okay, he's going to save me. He's going to rescue me from all this pain.
He's my happiness.
Exactly. But Emmitt is human just like me. So he made some, you know, some choices that were not good for our relationship when we were dating. And that through those choices, you know, a child was conceived, and we had a struggle with forgiveness and healing through that. That took us, you know, many years. I mean, you talk about the enemy reminding you of your past. I mean, my precious baby, she's now 18 years old. I mean, she is she's one of my kids. I literally, I mean, I constantly have to fight the enemy, even today in my marriage, of, you know, can I trust? Is this safe? And I constantly have to lean on God and remember, you know, that we are human and that He has covered us and He has brought us so far.
It's a day-to-day journey of
daily.
locking and loading on truth, making right choices. Your book is called Second Chances, but you also are doing something with and for women today called Treasure You. What is that?
Yes, that's my baby. So Treasure You was birthed again, you know, First Lady Sarita Jakes told me years ago that your misery can become your ministry.
Yes.
Right? And so I learned on this journey that through all of the difficulties, right, there's a silver lining. And that is that I have a heart for women.
Yeah.
You know, every time that I've gone through some very difficult struggles in my life, there's been amazing women that have undergirded me. I have a great spiritual mentor, Kathy Moffitt, who has just walked me through, right?
Yes.
And so I started an organization where women come together and we share and we celebrate one another and we inspire one another in a safe environment through retreats and events. And so Treasure You is, I call it my little baby. And this Saturday, we're doing a live stream out of Dallas, and it's another Treasure You event for Second Chances with Winona Judd, who is willing to share her story. Because I just believe that testimonies are so important to other people. Sometimes we see people and we think, like, Terry, you're just perfect. You know,
Never
you're Miss
have a problem.
America,
Right.
you're gorgeous, you don't have any problems. Well, you and I know that
Not true.
it's not true.
Not true.
And so,
and women, you know, the sisterhood that we have with each other is a gift from the Lord, really.
It really
You just
is.
got to find the right women.
yeah, then that's important.
that with.
Let me tell you, that is important. That's why, like, when I look at these reality shows, it kills me to see women who are fighting or are going up against each other, because the enemy knows that if women come together, it's a powerful force, that we can love each other, that we can make things happen. And so I think he fights those relationships. But you're right, when you get together with some good sisters and girlfriends, it's all on. Like, things happen.
Well, and one of the great things about the book that you've written is that second chances are for men and for women. It's for everybody. I want to tell you that this book contains the story of Pat's life and the lives of other women who've all experienced a second chance. The book is going to be released next Tuesday on May 17th. You can pre-order a copy now if you'd like to. I recommend that you do. And also, Treasure You, she was talking about that. They're going to be hosting their first ever live broadcast event. That's on May the 14th, happening at the Westin Hotel Galleria in Dallas. If you're nearby, take part. Special guest Winona Judd and comedian John Gray are going to be in attendance as well. If you'd like a link to the live stream event, can't be there, go to the link. Just go to cbn.com. We'll tell you how to do that. Pat, thank you so much for your
Terry.
vulnerability and your candor. We appreciate what you've said and what you've written.